What's going on, guys? This weekend we have UFC 319. Duplessis versus Chimaev going down in the main event of this weekend's card in Chicago. And we're actually going to be doing a IRL video about this card. We're going to be attending it in person, and we'll give you the full scoop from in Chicago. But regarding this card, we're going to go through and we're going to make some predictions for the fights that are supposed to take place, obviously in the main event being a massive main event and probably the best fight put on this year stylistically, at least the hardest one to predict. So starting off with, we'll predict some preliminary fights. It looks like they added a couple prelim fights, but Brian Battle versus Nursultan Rizaboyev. This is a competitive fight. Rizaboyev is dangerous, but I'm going to go with Brian Battle in this one on the undercard. Edson Barboza versus Jakar Close. Edson Barboza is an old head for sure, but I do not rate Jakar Close at all. I think Edson Barboza is going to get the win here. Alexander Hernandez, although I think he's a little bit more dangerous than Jim Miller, who Chase Hooper just fought. I don't really rate him to go the distance in this fight. I think Chase Hooper will probably get the win here. Lupi Godinez versus Jessica Andrade. In this fight, I'm going to go with Jessica Andrade at strawweight. Lupi Godinez, she's not very good. And yes, Jessica Andrade is old and she is washed, but she's really only lost to, really good female fighters. So that's going to be my pick for this one. Joe Mersark versus Mikhail Oseichuk. I'm going to go with Mikhail Oseichuk. He is a dangerous middleweight, and he's got knockout power in his hands, and I think he's going to hurt GM3 and put him out. And Bobby Green versus Diego Ferreira. I can't trust Bobby Green's chin anymore. I mean, look at his last couple fights. I mean, there's Rufy where he got brutally KO'd. Jalen Turner where he got brutally KO'd. He got brutally KO'd by Drew Dober. He's taken a lot of damage lately, and I can't trust him anymore. And Diego Ferreira is on a bit of a roll. He did sleep Michael Johnson, so he's got serious power. So I'm going to go Diego Ferreira in this fight. Now, the main card. Tim Elliott versus Kai Asakura. Kai Asakura had a pretty pitiful performance against Pantoja, but you got to remember, it is Alejandro Pantoja, one of the best pound-for-pound fighters in the world. So I am going to go with Kai Asakura to win this fight. Tim Elliott, he's been inactive, and he's a bit of an older guy, and he's kind of just been floating around the rankings for a long time. So I'm going to go with Kai Asakura to stamp himself as a legit UFC fighter and get his first win in the company here. The next fight in the middleweight division, Jared Cannonier versus Michael Venom Page. This one is interesting. Jared Cannonier is a big and strong guy with a lot of power who, could incorporate some wrestling and, make it physical and get in Page's face. But here's the thing. The speed disparity is massive between welterweight and middleweight, especially with Page, too, because he's one of the fastest welterweights. I just think he's going to be multiple steps ahead of Cannonier in this whole fight. I think it's going to be a kind of a slow-paced fight where Page is kind of just doing jumping jacks from the outside and occasionally blitzes in and lands, a 1-2 and a right hand. And that's pretty much how I see this fight going. I do see Page rocking him at points in the fight, but yeah, I don't think he's going to finish him. I'm going to go Page by decision. Jeff Neal versus Carlos Prates. I'm going Carlos Prates. I was not very pleased with Prates' last performance against Gary because I feel like he had all the tools to win that fight. But I think he paced himself too much. But I feel like he's a bit more comfortable in 3-round fights. So I think, he's going to have no problem going forward, putting power on Jeff Neal. He's got the knees to the body. He's also got very dangerous hands as well. So I'm going to go with Carlos Prates. Although Jeff Neal, he is dangerous with his hands. That's all I'm saying. You got to be careful. And then we got a co-main event of Lerone Murphy versus Aaron Pico. Aaron Pico was not even a champion in Bellator, and Lerone Murphy, yes, he's boring. Yes, he's a decision merchant, but he's won fights. And in the UFC, you see a guy who's undefeated, 16-0. I mean, yes, it might be kind of a casual way of looking at things, but that speaks to something. It speaks to a level of consistency that you can constantly count on them to go in there and win fights at the highest level. And I mean, he's beaten good guys lately. He's beaten Dan Ige and Emmett, and he's got a couple of other pretty decent wins. So yeah, I'm going to go with Lauren Murphy decision win. Now, the main event. I've been flip-flopping on this fight. When it was first announced, I was thinking Dracus. Starting about 2 weeks ago, I was thinking, well, Chimaev might ragdoll him in the first round where he could get a finish. And then he also, has decent cardio. I mean, yes, he's tired himself out. But even in the Gilbert Burns fight, where people say, oh, he gassed, they were just fighting at such a high pace that they both gassed. So Burns and Chimaev were both tired in that fight. And in the Usman fight, yes, he slowed down. Usman has one of the best cardios in the entire sport. His cardio is very good. So, like I said, I was thinking Chimaev, but I'm going to stick with my original pick with Dracus du Plessis. And let me explain why. Bring back up the Kamaru Usman fight. Kamaru Usman is a dangerous fighter, a former world champion who knew how to pace himself, who was physically strong, and Dracus is that. I mean, he's a champion. He's very strong and very physical. Although he's going to get, I think, dominated in that first round, I think he'll be able to survive the early onslaught. If you look at the guys that Chimaev is finished at the high level, his high level opponents have been Gilbert Burns, Robert Whittaker, and Kamaru Usman. Okay, 2 welterweights and 1 middleweight. And yes, he did destroy Whittaker, but that was more of like a jaw issue that Whittaker had. And Whittaker's always kind of crumbled when he's fought physical guys. I mean, look at him most recently against Rainier Derrida. Look at him against Hamzat. Look at him against Dracus. All of these guys who have made it physical. Even Paulo Costa, who Robert Whittaker beat, had a way closer fight than he should have had with him because Paulo Costa made it a physical fight. So that's what I think is going to happen. I think Chimaev is going to win the first 2 rounds, maybe 10-8 in the first round, maybe 10-8 in the first round, and 10-9 in the second round. But Dracus is just going to survive and just keep coming at him over and over and over again. And I don't think he's going to be shying away from these exchanges in the grappling and just being super defensive against Chimaev. I think he's going to bring the fight to Hamzat, and I think Hamzat's going to gas, and I think Dracus is going to pour it on, and he's going to hurt him late, and I think he's going to win a decision here. So I'm going Dracus du Plessis by decision in this fight. So that's the card. Those are the predictions. Du Plessis by decision, Lauren Murphy by decision, Carlos Prates, I'm going to go by TKO. I'm going to go Michael Page by decision, and Kai Asakura we're going to go knockout in that fight. So anyways, guys, that's all for today's video. Please make sure to like and subscribe. And like I said, we're going to be attending this fight this weekend. So I'm super pumped for that. And anyways, I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.